Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. This is the weekend special, and welcome to everybody. And this is a show that we have every Friday afternoon. It's at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, which is now 21 Zulu. And also, this is November 12th, 2021. And our special guest today is the president of the Radio Club of America. Now, the Radio Club of America is the oldest wireless club in the world, formed in 1909. And the RCA president is here. Please welcome John Facella, K9FJ. Hello, John.
Good afternoon, Tim, and thank you for having me on.
So, John, why don't you give everybody a real brief history of the Radio Club and what it means today, and where you might see a small snippet of where things are going in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you for that opportunity. So the Radio Club, as Tim said, was started in 1909. It was actually started by several junior high school boys, led by a young lady who was a little older. And they formed a radio club at a time when it was the Spark era, essentially. And the club has grown into the world's oldest society of wireless professionals, as Tim said. We are not per se a ham club, but about 60% of our members are, in fact, radio amateurs like myself and like Tim. And what we do is a series of things. We focus on the future, so we spend some time with school-aged youth, trying to get them interested in wireless careers. We also spend some time with college people, and we have a scholarship program for them. We encourage them to study engineering or broadcast or similar allied arts in the wireless world. Focused on the present as well. So we do things like help people in their careers, and we just started a mentoring program. It's in its infancy. It hasn't been announced yet. But the idea is older members who've been in wireless for a while can help somebody just starting in wireless. And then finally, we spend time on the history, and we try to memorialize those that went before us and develop the wireless world that we all enjoy today, culminating in smartphones and 5G and wireless routers and Bluetooth and everything you can think of.
Thank you, John. And John, are you seeing my screen with the RCA website?
I am.
Good. So this is a great website to bookmark, Radio Club of America, all one word, .org. And here you will find all of the information about many of the items that John just talked about. And but I want to call your attention to an event that is happening this weekend. And it starts tomorrow at 12 Zulu. And what this event is a Radio Club of America is hosting the Transatlantic QSO party. And we are leading up to some of the most significant days in radio's history. Because in 1921, on December 9th, 10th, and 11th, radio amateurs from the Radio Club of America and the ARRL successfully spanned for the first time the Atlantic Ocean with amateur radio equipment all the way to Scotland. And they were heard in several other places as well. And the station's call sign was 1BCG, and it was located in Greenwich, Connecticut. And at that time, this is 1921, the transmitter, the CW transmitter, had 990 watts of power and a T-cage antenna 100 feet long and 70 feet high. And they were on 230 meters, which is about 1,300 kilohertz, 1.3 megahertz. So we are commemorating, the Radio Club of America has the Transatlantic Centennial event, and this is the QSO party. And this is tomorrow starting at 12 Zulu. And it goes to 0400 Zulu on November 14th on 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. And CW and SSB, and you call CQ TQP for the Transatlantic QSO party. And here's the exchange. The rules are very simple, and you don't have to send logs in. You just post your scores on 3830scores.com, and there will be a downloadable certificate available on the Radio Club of America's website. And we also encourage shortwave listeners to see how many stations they can hear during this event. So this is one of several events that will go on commemorating this very historic event. Here is the Antique Wireless Association has a replica transmitter. They'll be able to produce a couple hundred watts, and this will be on during December 11th as well. And many members of the Radio Club of America are also members of the Antique Wireless Association and the American Radio Relay League. So there's a lot of cross-pollination. You can also find more information on the Transatlantic QSO party. If you see here, this is on the contestcalendar.com. And if you go to the RCA Transatlantic party, there it is. There's all the information along with a link back to the Radio Club of America's website and the posting information to 3830scores.com. So a really great event coming up tomorrow, and a little bit of Sunday too, John.
Yes, and you know, Tim, I'm going to add a comment. Some of your listeners, watchers, I should say, may not exactly understand the significance of this. So I'll just kind of zero in on the history a little bit. In 1901, Marconi first spanned the Atlantic with fairly expensive equipment. He had a lot of fits and starts, towers blew down and so forth. I've actually had the good fortune to visit some of those sites in the U.S. But after that, Marconi developed what amounted to a business in transatlantic communications for ships especially. But his network of stations were extremely expensive. Very large spark transmitters using Alexanderson alternators, using, initially using Spark and then using CW using Alexander alternators for a pure sine wave. And these were thousands of watts. The antenna farms were huge, lots of real estate and so forth. So now exactly almost to the day, 20 years later, amateurs decide in the ARRL and the Radio Club of America to try to do the same thing using much more modest equipment. In that 20 years, a lot had been learned about how to set up different and simpler setups. And one of the things that facilitated this was actually the use of a beverage antenna at the receiving end in Scotland. And that antenna helped to nullify a lot of the static and noise that, of course, even today we enjoy, if you want to call it that, at 160. So anyway, these guys put together a station that cost about $1,000. They sent Paul Godley, who they believed was their best operator, over, and Godley was watched over by a Marconi inspector as a second person to verify what was going on. And not only was one BCG heard, but another handful of about 12 to 20 U.S. stations were all heard in Scotland, proving conclusively that it was possible to span the Atlantic. The net result of this is that it started a whole lot of experimentation among inventors and engineers and scientists and amateurs in the wireless field. And the net result of it was constant improvements until we have today the smartphones and so forth that we enjoy and don't even think about it.
Right. The humble beginnings of it all, and the Radio Club of America and the ARRL and members of the Antique Wireless Association, everybody was in the thick of it, and it was just a great time to be alive, just like it is right now, with all of the developments that we have in wireless communications and what we take for granted, that it just works. It flat out just works. And certainly that's what, everybody has helped refine here over the years. I do want to say hello to some of our viewers in the chat room. DK5 Oscar Norway Victor, Gunter, good to have you on from Germany, and from Algeria, 7X-Ray 2 Radio Fox, upstate New York, Whiskey 2 Golf Tango, and Papa Echo 2 Kilo will be in the Worked All Europe RTTY this weekend, and Fox 5 Tango Golf Radio from France. Thanks to Tim for these reminders of our lovely hobby. Our friend Rick, Whiskey X-Ray 8 Tango, Whiskey 9 Papa Yankee, Kilo Alpha 2 India Radio Quebec, and Whiskey Alpha 4 Mike Oscar Mike is on from Kentucky. And our good friend Michael Coulter, W8CI, from the Dayton Amateur Radio Association, the host of Hamvention. And Dino, Kilo Lima Zero Sierra is on from Virginia as well. So, John, I'm going to open it up for questions. We'll see if we get any questions here in the chat room about the event or about the Radio Club of America, which has had some great events and support and scholarships and lots of ways that we help the wireless industry and wireless professionals, as well as what Carol Perry is doing. And you might just take a minute to discuss what Carol Perry does on behalf of the Radio Club of America.
Sure, Tim. Well, Carol Perry is a long-term ham, and she has been a long-term board member on both the Radio Club of America and also the Quarter Century Wireless Association. So she's very plugged into amateur radio. She's also a former middle school school teacher from Staten Island, New York. And Carol started many years ago a ham radio class at the middle school level and got the support of her principal and the school district. And what she's done with that is, in retirement, she basically goes to high schools and middle schools across the country. She also goes to all kinds of ham fests. Dayton is one of them, and Hamcation and many, many others. And she gets these young hams to make presentations on projects that they're doing. And the stuff that they're doing would just blow you away. When one of the first technical symposiums I went to, we had Austin Schaller presenting, and he was a high school student at the time, and he was getting into fractal antennas. I was clueless what a fractal antenna was. I had to go look it up. I felt like an idiot because this high school student knew more about it than I did. Well, Austin has gone on to become a degree EE, and he is working for Ball Aerospace. But he's a prime example of, in 10 years, with encouragement from the Radio Club, from Carol Perry, presenting at the technical symposium and so forth, he has now gotten into the wireless art in a professional way. And this is exactly what we want. And this is what Carol Perry does. And she's just, we call her the Energizer Bunny. She has more energy than any of us go into all these events. So thank goodness for Carol, and thank goodness for the youth that are interested in wireless, and amateur radio is the vehicle for them to discover that interest.
It is very cool. And there's lots of information about what the Radio Club of America does on the radioclubofamerica.org website. So take some time to review it, and you might even consider becoming a member. And that information is on the website as well. And we have our friend John on, Kilo Bravo 3 Hotel. Greatly appreciate the historical background. As hams, we have a rich and storied heritage. 73 from KB3H. And Nicole says, hey, Tim, when are you going to reopen? I'm Janet Shadle, Kilo Golf 4, Juliet Bravo, Bravo daughter. The showroom is in a soft reopening. So we do have, Jeff is there some of the time. And Kilo India 8 X-Ray Quebec is also in the store. So it's off and running. And our friend Joe, K9FJ, is on. And so lots of information on the website. Go there. You can learn more. Also, make sure you go to onallbands.com. Onallbands, all one word, .com. That's the DX Engineering blog. Lots of great information is posted there every day. It's fresh, it's up to date, and some of the best blog writers in the US post there frequently. So go to onallbands.com. That's it for another weekend special. Tune in on Tuesdays when it'll be Tuesdays with Tim and Jeff. Get on the air. We'll see you in the QSO party tomorrow. 73 from John, K9FJ, the president of RCA, and DX Engineering.
73 to everybody. Thanks, Tim.